Hello Scorpio, welcome to Demella Universe. We are the last three. Thank you so much for joining us. This is for the Sun, Moon and Rising Sign of Scorpio. And Scorpio, this is a special reading from Source. Within the next 60 days, from viewing this reading, from being inspired to this reading, there's a positive change, a positive manifestation, a positive blessing, a positive outcome coming your way. This is a timeless reading, so whenever you feel called to it, from viewing it, within 60 days, you can expect this beautiful change to occur. And you might be thinking 60 days is quite a long time, but that's because these energies take time in the making. For this manifestation, this change is meant to be stable, is meant to be long-lasting, is meant to be eternal, is meant to stay with you. It's meant to be not fleeting. So it takes time for it to come into being, as it's also going to last. It's meant to stay and stick and be long-lasting in your frequency, beautiful Scorpio, in your beautiful reality. So let us see what's coming through for you, Scorpio, in 60 days. Spirit guides. 33, stability. Ooh, okay, interesting. Very interesting, Scorpio. Delusion. Okay. Ooh, okay. Wow. Scorpio, this is quite a powerful transformation. And out of all the readings, it feels the most spiritual. You're having quite a spiritual energy experience in the next 60 days. In order for you, you'll understand it best if we give you almost the outcome or the results, the why. In order for what you are calling in from Source to take the shape of Source in the physical, without you deciding what it will be, because here we see delusion. Intention without surrender can be a fast path to delusion. So Source is saying it's time for you not to micromanage and determine the outcome and to take what's coming from spirit and to try to make it work in the physical, because it's causing a delusion, because now you are creating a story that doesn't exist. You are forcing the frequency you're receiving, you are forcing the energy you're receiving to become something, as opposed to you allowing it to simply take the shape of its truth in the physical. Okay? It's like, imagine you are wanting to have a child, wanting to have a baby, and as much as genetically you can almost have an idea of how this baby will look like, and how this baby will be, Source says you're quite free though. You almost are powerless, because here comes this energy, and then this energy is born in whatever way this energy wants to be. And Source wants you to have the same freedom in all aspects of your life. Because what's happening at this moment, Scorpio, is that imagine you're having this baby, but you are deciding you're going to have this color hair, these color eyes, you're going to be this gender, you're going to be this tall, you are literally specifying how this unique energy now must be. Imagine a baby is born, not able to be born the way it wants to be, but rather has to now conform to you. Already that's what happens with the programming and the illusion. When children are born and you give them a name and you give them all these things, they now have to just assimilate into culture, tradition, all these past experiences. They now just have to be. But imagine if even on the physical level, you could now, you are trying to manipulate how even on a cellular level they become. Imagine being that restricted. Imagine this infinite source energy that knows exactly what it wants to be, now having to be completely formed in a frequency it doesn't want. And Source is bringing this other thing, space into my attention when we are thinking of those who are transgender or having gender identity. Source is saying, remember, every being here is on a journey to align to their soul path and their soul destiny, and that every being here is here to heal a specific journey and a specific path. Some have come to show humans that you can be any form you wish, that this form doesn't confine you. And some are here to show you that regardless of the form, they are still free to be whoever they want to be. Others are here to show you that the form can indeed change and take the shape of what you want it to be. Everybody is here literally healing a different energy, a different frequency. It's not to be judged, it's simply to be appreciated. And understand that the idea of gender, that this human form is male or female, is human. When we come pure from Source into the physical human vessel, we don't assign it a gender. We don't decide it needs to have a specific role or purpose. We simply understand that the form we are born into is what we on a soul level wanted. And the only reason why you might have a conflict as to the form not being what you want, if it's an external, is generally due to an external factor, due to how beings and humanity have now defined your vessel to be. You might very well be happy in your vessel and not necessarily see it as male or female, but because other people see it as male or female, you now need to alter it to another frequency which is more aligned to you. But again, that's derived from the external naming your vessel or naming what you are. There are those who are learning this, and there are those who are releasing the human gender identity. There are those who still internally feel that the form they're in does not serve them. And that's up to them to also now explore that healing purpose. Just Source wanted to clarify that because we are saying that here is a spiritual being coming into this vessel, and it's a vessel that you might want to now change the shape of. And it is not that somebody needs to hear this. Let us see. Source is bringing this in another way. Give us a moment. All of your desires and every single thing that you want to bring through onto earth, you have everything you need. The Source within you shapes this vessel you are in, and it is everything you need. And everything that comes from Spirit already has all the components it requires and needs to take the shape of everything you need. The only reason why you might want to alter or have control over the shape of what that energy will be is because of external influence telling you what everything is. Should you have not had any background information on what you are, on what success looks like, on what achievement looks like, on what love looks like, on the naming of your gender, of sexuality, of your race, of your culture, of tradition, should you have not had any of these external parameters, you would simply be the soul in a vessel, exploring why your soul chose this vessel. That is where you would be. And nobody else would decide, oh, but you have to be this vessel because you're in the, you have to be this because you're in this vessel, or you have to act this way because you identify as that, or because none of that would exist. You would simply be source, having a physical experience, exploring why you opted for the physical experience you chose. Everything in the physical would have been non-applicable. And Source would like you to apply that to your life. And that is the transformation you are having right now, beautiful Scorpio. I don't know if any of you are going through gender identity, but Source really wanted you to come to it from the highest perspective of spirit. It is not to take away from your truth. It is not to take away from what you believe. It's to allow you a higher perspective away from the very raw emotional human perspective of the power you have to always be that which you are. And it begins primarily not from you having to take any physical action, but rather from you releasing everything and everyone from deciding that which you are first and foremost, and then you are free. And Source wants you to also release deciding, for everyone, deciding what the energy you are receiving should be, because that is why it's a delusion. You are taking what is unknown and deciding the form it should be, as opposed to allowing what is unknown to show you what it should be in the physical. And in the next during the 60-day process, you are bathed within spiritual light, bathed within spirit frequency, and your guides are assisting you to allow this beautiful energy to take the shape. There's a Buddha here, there's a beautiful shaman, there's a galactic being here by the 30, there's a fairy folk, there's a wizard, all of these powerful, beautiful guides and ancestors. Source taking the shape of whatever, the physical rather taking the shape of Source, the magic and the frequencies taking the shape of Source, not deciding what it will be, but allowing itself to be. And Source is saying, beautiful Scorpio, not only in terms of, because we know we did focus quite a bit on gender identity, but that seemed to be quite a big, for someone needed to hear that, and it also seemed to be, your energy asked for it, so whoever, whether it's one person, whether it's all of you, whether it's a group, you needed to hear that, so we trust it helped. But not only within gender identity, but within everything. Stop deciding what your source is. Allow yourself to discover it by releasing it of your mind, releasing source of your mind, releasing source of the external, releasing source of what other people believe, what other people think, what other people expect, what other people have decided. Release. Stop giving anything in the external power over Source, and allow Source to take the shape of you. Allow the physical to take the shape of Source. Allow Source to become that which you are within the light. Because every single time you start applying what other people think, what this physical world thinks upon Source, you're creating a delusion. It's an illusion. It's not real. It's not real. And it's time for you to release the creation of that which is not real in your life, and to finally allow that which is truly real to take anchoring, to take shape, to take placement within your life experience, Scorpios. Wow, very interesting energy, very interesting message. Let's pull some tarot. Six of Swords, transformation, a shift in perspective and a shift in how you create. It's a whole new way of being you're coming into, where you are no longer deciding what source is, deciding what your energies will be, but rather allowing them to take a shape which is true to the form of source, true to the form of spirit, thus bringing through quite a lot of liberation and free. We feel each and every single one of you there, free, completely free, freed of the physical constraints, free of physical constraints, free of physical limitations, but open and free within the divine realm and frequencies of source. Nine of Swords, no longer anxious or worried or fearful of you and who you be, worried and anxious and fearful of how you are to be. You see, here's source, the all-knowing eye, and they are pinned down by everybody else's expectation, just keeping everything blocked. And source is saying, now you're finally open, allowing source to be all that it will be, no longer imprisoning source with the mind, creating delusion and illusion and fear and anxiety and almost a self-deprecating frequency, but rather now allowing the truth of you to simply be, that which you are within to simply be, and to allow source to take the shape, or the physical to take the shape of source, not the other way around, where you're now forcing source to take a shape, a predetermined frequency. Wow, a lot of swords energy. Seven of Swords, yes. This is the illusion, the delusion, other people, other people's opinions, other people who don't have your best interest, your own thoughts that pin you down, your own thoughts that judge you, that backstabbing energy, gossipy energy, because it is a limitation. It is where you understand, or rather where you feel the truth of your experience, but allowing ego and the external and people and conditions and the mind to alter that which you would truly do, to alter that which you would truly be, to alter the true expression of you. Are you really making choices and decisions based on who you truly are within, or are you only making choices and decisions based on what the world is projecting upon you? And it's time for you to really have a clear understanding of that. Are you making a decision in all aspects of your life due to the feeling of who you are, without anybody's opinion, or any other past, present, any external influence upon you? Are you simply just source being? Or are your choices influenced by any measure, by a definition, by a human constraint, by a human definition, by a human idea? Release the human ideas. They keep you imprisoned. Allow source to bring through new understanding, new ideas, new perceptions, and new clarity within the frequency of love. This is very deep, Scorpio. Hangman energy. It is quite a healing process, this next 60 days you're feeling. And Source doesn't want you to feel heavy. It is not a heaviness. It might feel heavy should you be attached to your... Okay. Should you be attached to the past, to the way humans are, to the way humans be, to human collective experiencing, it's going to feel quite heavy, because you are quite a powerful spiritual being. You're not a human. You are a spiritual being having a physical experience. You are not a spiritual being having a human experience. So should you be caught up in your head by how humans do things, it's going to feel quite heavy, because you are almost fighting against the truth of your frequency. We can give you a personal example. For us, there are many ways we used to enjoy expressing ourselves, which no longer aligns with our spiritual journey. So we had to release a lot of how humans would do things, and stop deciding that is how we would need to be in order for us to achieve those experiences. For example, most people say when they walk in nature, they feel quite calm and at ease and grounded. And yes, it is true, nature has those beautiful healing properties. For us, not being of this realm, being of a very different frequency, there are times when we're asked not even to go into nature because it's overwhelming. And when we do that, we do feel overwhelming. Going into nature is literally the same as being in a crowd of people all yelling at you at once. That is how we feel, because we can feel everything. We were asked to release Jim, which was a beautiful experience for us because we enjoyed the grounding energy, and it was also at ease to be in an environment with people you don't necessarily have to engage in. So it helped us to not feel so alone, because you would still be surrounded by people, but not necessarily need to engage. And yet Source is saying just being, for us, where we are, just having a gym contract puts us in a bind with everybody else energetically who has a contract with that gym. And when we literally left the gym, when we paid the cancellation fee, we literally felt this highest free, we literally felt ourselves shift. And we felt all these tethers, we felt so much lighter. We felt all these tethers being removed. We refer to ourselves as a we, not because of gender identity. We really personally do not mind whether people refer to us as a woman or a man, as he or she, girl or boy. It doesn't actually affect us at all in any way, brother or sister. It really doesn't. We have so many people say, we meditate with you sometimes and we see you as a divine sister. Do we mind calling, if we call you divine sister? I'm like, you can call me divine sister. So hey brother, I meditate you and I see you as the sacred brother. Can I call you brother? You can call me brother. Like, you can call me anything. It doesn't really, for us, it doesn't. In my human perspective, if I was caught up with this form being male, yes, I would have had difficulty with being called sister and goddess, because then it goes against the fixed, defined being I am. But because we no longer view ourselves as human, thus we no longer live by the rules of humanity, thus we no longer apply the genders of humans, we are not affected by how anybody sees us, because it's your own perception. We simply are. And the reason why we are a we is not really because of gender identity, other than there are so many of us right now. We as Kemet Velastri are a multi-vibrational frequency. We are many beings in this one vessel. So the we is, and some of these beings are feminine, some of these beings are masculine, some of these beings are non-binary, some of these beings don't even have a new gender, which you don't even know about. We're a whole lot of stuff. So the we encompasses all of us. And so for us to understand this is how we are, to another who places the we as a gender importance, it might trigger them. But you see, we now can't stop who we are because of triggering. And that is what Source really wants you to understand. It is time that you break free, because should we still live by the parameters of what humanity has defined for us, I have to be in nature to ground my energies, even though when I go there I feel completely a mess. I have to be the gender that humans have labeled upon me, because it gives me an idea, or because, for example, we as Velastri, we feel a lot of feminine energy within us. However, we're quite happy in this form because this form doesn't mean masculine. It's form. It doesn't mean male for us. And Source is saying the more you release what humans have placed upon you in all of your life, you will not need to prove or to change or to change who you are at a core being in order for you to then feel that sense of belonging. It really only comes from you and you within completely. So only when you are still having a reference point to how humans do things, and not only in the topics we've mentioned, it can also be in how humans are successful. Perhaps you're an upcoming actor and actress, and you have the eyes on the Oscars or the Tonys if you're in musicals, or the Grammys if you're a singer, all of those, or BAFTA or the Summers if you're in South Africa. So whatever major award situation, that is what you're focused on. Source is saying that's a very human perspective of how to be successful and famous. And if you are caught up in that, that's what causes the heaviness, because your path might ask you to take a whole different route. It doesn't mean that you will not achieve your dreams, but it means that you don't necessarily have to achieve it as humans see it for it to be a success. Allow Source to achieve it in a way which is your success. Because every other way is a delusion. Because now you're taking Source and deciding how Source should be in accordance to the external, which then is still a displacement. So you'll never be happy, no matter what change, no matter what transformation, no matter what you do. If the basis is to be in alignment to something that is derived from what a human perspective believes, you will still not be happy, because it's not born of your core frequency. Scorpio, this is a very deep message, and we just trust that you will understand it. It is something we would generally go into this kind of energy in a one-on-one session, so that we can really go deep. We hardly ever get this kind of depth in the tarot, because it's generally collective, but Source is saying this is actually the collective message for Scorpio. So Scorpio, you're having quite a deep transformation these 60 days. King of Coins, but this is what you're going into. Look, Six of Swords, you're going into this, and again, the King has nothing to do with gender. It's not the masculine energy in gender. This is the physical realm. The physical realm honoring you, honoring Source. The physical becoming, see, the spirit now taking the shape. You're allowing Source within you to now take the shape of the physical. Thus, it's at the King level, which is your worth, your truth, your ultimate energy. This is now Source in the physical. Completely in the physical. Honoring the truth, the core frequency of who you truly are. And that's what's happening during this 60-day transition. You are being transformed into the truth of you, and what it requires is you to completely let go of what the world has decided is the King of Coins, because it's all a delusion. What the world thinks this card is a delusion. It's not real, because you cannot decide what your source, what your soul is. You can simply discover it. You can simply manifest, discover, and enjoy it in present, current time discovery. It cannot be defined, if that makes sense, beautiful Scorpio. So you are going through a huge recalibration where you are no longer deciding what source within you is. You're no longer deciding how source within you should present or be in order to be compatible or suitable, in order to have even meaning for you on the physical, because that's ego. If you need your source to take a specific shape for you to feel whole, that's also ego, because you are source. So would you really define yourself to be a specific way before you are happy? Or would you just be within a frequency of happiness and allow that energy to take the shape of happiness? And that's what you are being challenged with at this time, healed with at this time. For you to simply be source, having a spiritual experience, source, having a physical experience, thus taking the shape, just as fluidly. Oh, thank you. That's why source said source having a spirit. Just as source having a spiritual frequency with the Queen of Pentacles in the spirit realm, you are not defining source, are you? You're not deciding, oh, source in spirit has this shape, has this light, has this. No, you allow source in spirit to be anything. So you allow yourself a whole, limitless, unconditional experience of source in the spirit realm. And source is saying it's time that you allow yourself a whole, limitless, unconditional experience of source in the physical. Because every single time you try to direct it, you try to understand it, you try to make it be a certain way in order for you to feel a certain way, you're creating delusion. It's not real, because you're manipulating source. You're not allowing source to be. Blessed be.